The cloud, remember? The cloud would protect them during the day, and then at nighttime it would become a pillar of fire so they wouldn't get too cold, because it was cold at nighttime in the desert. So God was protecting them. And do you think they brought a whole bunch of clothes with them in the desert? No, they had the same pair of clothes. And do you know what happened? God did another miracle. Their clothes and their sandals didn't wear out. Is that cool? They wandered around the desert for all these years, and their clothes did not wear out. God was protecting them. Now there's one more thing that God was protecting them from. Something very important that I don't even think they realized until something happened. Now you're going to hear the story from the perspective of an animal. And he's going to tell you the story of what happened. Okay? So listen and figure out what else God was protecting them from.
So, hello! Are you all here to hear my story? Well, it's nice to see all of you today. Do you have any idea what kind of animal I might be?
Snake.
You got it on the first try. Yes, my name is Saul the Snake, and I am a Saw-Scale Viper. I live out in the Sinai Peninsula. They call me a saw-scale because when I slither along, the scales on my sides rub together and they make a sound kind of like, maybe kind of like the sound of someone sawing on wood. I think it sounds like something a little different, and I'll explain to you in a minute what I think it sounds like. But me and hundreds of my friends love to live in the Sinai Peninsula. Oh, you must be wondering where the Sinai Peninsula is. The Sinai Peninsula is where Mount Sinai is, of course. It's right in the name. And also, it's where the children of Israel had to pass through to get from Egypt to Canaan. You've heard of them, right? The children of Israel? Yes? Oh, I don't know if you're even paying attention. I've heard of them. I've heard a lot about them. All of my snaky friends have been paying very close attention to them as they've been traveling along. It's been a real bit of a mystery for us. You know why? Well, here's the thing. People traveling through the desert, sometimes they disturb us little snakes. We like to lay out where it's nice and warm in the sunshine, lay out on rocks and on the sand, and warm up our bodies so we can stay warm enough to get through the night, because it gets chilly at night. And sometimes when we're laying out on the sand or on a rock, people traveling through the desert on their big old, clumsy old camels and their donkeys and even their big bare feet just walking along, well, they step on us, or they trip on us, or they just disturb us in some way. And you know what happens when they do that? What do you think we do about it, us snakes? Yeah, well, it's not so much even that we're mad, because, we could care less one way or the other about them, but if they bother us, we want to defend ourselves. And the only way I know to defend myself is to bite. I've got some really good fangs. They're nice and sharp. They help me to hunt the food that I eat. I especially like to eat something that lots of other birds don't eat. Birds. Did I say birds? Lots of other snakes don't eat. Birds. I like to eat birds. Can you imagine a snake catching a bird? I'll tell you how I'm able to do it. When I want to, I can slither along really quietly without making my scales rustle together. And then I coil up, and when I jump to catch a bird that's sitting on a low branch or a small bush, I can actually leap right through the air. I can leap off the ground. And then I reach out my big fangs and I bite them. And then I'm able to catch a bird for supper. But there's another reason so that's one of the reasons that we might bite somebody when they walk by and disturb us. Because we might think, it's something to eat for supper. Now, if I'm paying close attention and I can actually see clearly what's going on, I would not try to eat a person. And I wouldn't try to eat a donkey or a camel. They're too big for me to eat. I just need a small little bird. That's enough for me. But I can't see very well. I can smell really well. Did you know that I smell with a part of my body that you don't smell with? What do I smell with? Does anybody know? Yeah, I'll show it to you.
Your tongue.
You're right. It's my tongue. My sneaky little tongue. When I stick my tongue out, the little particles of smell that are floating through the air, the ones that you can smell with your nose, I catch them on my tongue. And then I pull them into my mouth, and I stick them in a little hole up in the roof of my mouth. And I can smell with my tongue. and I can tell what's going on around me. But my eyes, they're not that great. And so that's why sometimes somebody walks along or a camel stumbles along and they come close to me and I can't really tell what they are, but I know it's something because I smell danger and I feel the rumble of their footsteps in the ground and I see a shadow moving in my vision and I strike and I bite them with my fangs. Unfortunately for them, I also have poison in my fangs. I don't just have sharp teeth. I have venom. And my venom, it hurts. Apparently, when my venom goes into something, it doesn't even kill it right away. It just kind of starts to burn and sting. And then it makes them start to kind of get paralyzed. Like they can't move their leg or their arm, whatever I bite. That's why when I bite a bird, they can't fly away from me because they start to get paralyzed. But they don't die right away. They just kind of lay on the ground and they're in pain for a long time. That's how my venom is. And when I bite a person, oh, it hurts a lot. They make lots of loud noises. Ow, ow, ouch, 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 ouch. And they try to get rid of me. They shake me off their leg or knock me off their arm. But it's too late. My venom's already in them. And now they're in pain. And it hurts and hurts and hurts. And eventually, they'll die. My venom is pretty strong. Did you know I'm considered one of the 10 most poisonous snakes in the world? I am. I live right there where those Israelites are passing through from Egypt to Canaan now. And I needed to tell you about them. Because see, I said that we've all been paying attention to those Israelites, the snakes, all my snake buddies and me. And the reason we've been paying particular attention to them is that we can't seem to get close to them. See, sometimes we get a little curious. We're smelling things with our snaky tongues. And we smell something interesting over this direction. And we go to check it out. And usually wherever I want to go, I can go. I'm a snake. I can wriggle through little holes. I can wriggle over things and under things and around things. I'm a good little snake wriggler. But these children of Israel, whenever I smell something in their direction I want to check out, and I start heading over close in their direction, you know what happens? I bump into something. It's like something keeps bumping into my snaky little nose. I'll be slithering along, and boom! I can't go in that direction. I can go other directions away from the children of Israel. I can go over there, and I can go over there, but I can't go right towards them. And I can't figure out what it is. I was talking to some of my other snaky buddies. They've run into the exact same thing. They can't see anything there, but something keeps them from going over there. It's gotten kind of annoying to us. In fact, sometimes when we feel like it, we go over and we just try to see how close we can get. And it ends up just a whole bunch of us snakes, just as close as we can get, but not close enough. Just all pressed up against something invisible, keeping us from getting over to them. It's strange. You know what else is strange? Sometimes if I'm there early in the morning, trying to make my way over to the children of Israel, where all their tents are set up, and I'm bumping into that invisible thing, and I can't get by, right on the other side of whatever's blocking me, I see white stuff show up. It's cool. Little white flaky stuff shows up on the ground. And sometimes I'll even see the people. I can kind of make it out with my little eyes, and I can smell them for sure. They're walking around, they're picking up the white stuff off the ground and eating it. That's amazing. I never get any white stuff dropped on the ground on my side of this invisible thing. I never get anything that I can eat dropped out of the sky for me. I have to catch it. But these people, they get something right on the ground and they eat it. There must be something taking care of them. I bet you I know who it is. It's the God who made me. That must be what it is. And I would think they'd be smart enough to realize that too. Because, you know, normally when you travel to the desert, sooner or later, you're going to disturb one of my buddies or me, and we're going to bite you in the leg. We haven't been able to bite anybody of those children of Israel. Well, not until a couple days ago. Do you want to hear what happened a couple days ago?
Yeah.
Oh, a couple days ago, something changed. Well, first of all, I was up there by that invisible barrier, whatever it must be, that I couldn't get through. I was just kind of bumping my nose into it, just kind of bored, bumping away. And I noticed some people walking around, and they were picking up the white stuff on the ground. And one of them had a whole basket full, and he threw it on the ground. I thought maybe he dropped it, but then I saw that he was actually kind of upset. And he started shouting. He said, "I'm sick of this stuff! I'm sick of this manna stuff! I don't want it! All I get is manna every day! I want something else!" And then, you know, not just him started complaining, but then a whole bunch of other people started complaining. "Yeah, we're sick of it too! We don't want this anymore! We're going to complain to Moses!" I don't know who this Moses was, but apparently he was the guy they were going to complain to. So they went stomping off to go and talk to Moses. I could hear them yelling all the way back to their tents. We're sick of manna! We're sick of manna! And more people started saying it too. Pretty sure a lot of people were all marching around and shouting and stomping. I could feel the vibrations of their feet going through the ground at me. There were so many of them going boom, 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 and shouting, we're sick of manna! We're sick of manna! Well, after a bit of all this shouting, they got quiet. And I could tell that they were listening to someone. It was, I guess, the guy Moses. And he was talking and he said, God gave you this manna. And I thought, I knew it. It's God. God must be taking care of them. He likes to do that. And then he said something else. But if you don't want God to take care of you with protecting you from everything around you and giving you the manna, God will stop protecting you. And just then, as I was trying to lean forward as far as I could, to listen as well as I could, I fell forward. Boom. The barrier wasn't there anymore. Whatever had been keeping me away from being able to go close to their tents was gone. Hooray! I can go closer and see what's going on. And my buddies all noticed it too. We'd all been lined up, just trying to pay attention to what was going on. And now we started slithering our way and wriggling our way into the camp of the Israelites. And do you know, as excited as we were to be there, they didn't seem very excited to see us. Well, we were just slithering our way through. We weren't really going there to do anything wrong. We were just exploring. But of course, we were going to defend ourselves if somebody stepped on us or tripped on us or made us scared. And there were hundreds of thousands of people there, and they started tripping and stepping on us. I guess there were a lot of us snakes, and they made them nervous or something. Well, people started going, ah, oh, snake! And jumping up and down and running around, and they would step on people, on snakes. They would kick them by accident. They would step on their tails, and well, I told you what we snakes do if somebody steps on us or scares us, right? What do? We bite. We bite! Ha! With our fangs. And when we bite with our fangs, what comes out of our fangs?
Poison.
Poison. And does that poison feel good?
No.
No, it hurts. In fact, it hurts so much that it feels like getting burned by fire. And do you know in the Bible, that's the word that Moses used to describe us. He wrote about this story later on. And he wrote down that we were fiery serpents. Now, we weren't really on fire. I sure hope not. I would die if I was actually on fire. But the burning that came into the people's bodies when we would bite them with venom felt like getting burned by fire. So they said we were fiery serpents. And maybe another reason they called us fiery too. Because I told you that I'm a saw-scale viper, and that when I rub my scales together, it sounds kind of like maybe a saw rubbing on wood. But you know what else it sounds like? It sounds like the crackling of a fire in a small amount of dry brush and dry wood. So maybe that's why the other reason they call this fiery serpents. Anyhow, the point is that they kept tripping on us and stepping on us and running around scared, and we kept biting more and more of them because we got kind of nervous too. And they were getting really, really sick. They were falling down and writhing around and clutching their legs and screaming and crying, and well, that's too bad for them, I thought. I'm just being a snake and trying to defend myself. And you know what I realized? That's why I couldn't get to them before. See, Moses had just told them that God was going to stop protecting them, didn't he? So when I couldn't get up to them, when I kept bumping into that invisible barrier, do you think that was God keeping me from getting into their camp?
Yeah.
I think it was. I bet you it was his angels all set up, all to protect them all around. They were safe. They were safe and sheltered by God. God had them protected. But then when they didn't want to be protected and have God helping them anymore, God said, okay, I'll take the protection away. And that's when I was able to go in with all of my hundreds of snaky friends and cause trouble. Well, you might think that the story ends there. I mean, you know, if we bit a lot of people, they're all going to die, and eventually they'll all be dead, and that's the end of the story, right? Do you think that's the end of the story?
No.
No, it's not. I was slithering along, I'd bitten a few people, and I was just making my way more towards the center of the camp, when all of a sudden, a net landed on my head. On my whole body, in fact. I got stuck inside of this net, and I got picked up, and I was wriggling around trying to bite, but I was inside of this kind of cloth bag thing, and I couldn't do anything, so I just stopped struggling, and I waited to see what was going to happen. I could hear a voice. It was the same voice I heard before. It was that guy Moses. And he said, oh, I got one. Quick, quick, let's go over to where the bronze makers are. He was taking me to some place where somebody made bronze or worked with bronze or something. Do you know what bronze is?
No.
No? I guess it's a kind of metal. And from what I've been told, my eyes aren't very good, but from what other people have told me, it's a metal that's kind of reddish in color. Kind of like a dark brown red. You know what? That's the same color I am. I'm a dark brown red color too. Well, he took me over, and there were some guys who were pounding away on metal, and they were heating up some metal over a fire to melt it down so they could make it into a special shape. And then he said, okay, Moses said, look in the bag here. That's what this one looks like. And they quickly opened the bag and looked in, and then they closed it up because I was in there going, I was angry. I wanted to bite them. But apparently, they needed to see what I looked like so they could make something that looked like me. Well, that was kind of honoring. I thought, oh, they're making something that looks like me. Oh, I kind of felt proud of that. And then I heard them talking as they were making it. And they said to Moses, how come we have to make this big bronze snake? That doesn't make sense. People are dying out there. And Moses told them, God said, if we put up a bronze snake on a pole, all the people can choose to look at it. And anybody who chooses to look at the bronze snake will get healed from their snake bite. Healed from my snake bites? That's not possible. Every time I bite something, it dies, okay? I'm one of the 10 most poisonous snakes in the world. And if I bite something, it's going to die. It's going to be in pain, it's going to cry, it's going to fall over and get paralyzed, and then it's going to die. You don't get healed from my snake bites. So I thought, well, that's really nice of them to make a nice bronze snake that looks like me and all, but it's not going to work. It can't possibly work. And you know what? I wasn't the only one who felt that way. Because after a little while, I heard them take the bronze snake. It was heavy. It took like 2 of them to carry it. And they took a big pole and they had it all kind of curved around the pole. And they went out and set it up outside the tent. It was on a nice big tall pole so everybody could see it. And then I heard Moses calling out to the people saying, God has said, anyone who turns and looks at this snake on the pole will be healed from their snake bite. And I thought to myself, oh, is that it? Is that it? Is that easy? Can it really be that simple? That all they have to do is just look at the pole and get healed? Oh, God just makes it too easy for them. But then I heard people who felt the way I felt about it. I heard people saying, no, that won't work. No, that's not going to work. I'm not going to look at it. It can't possibly work. And I'll tell you what, I might be a silly little snake who just likes to live out in the desert and bite birds all day long. But even I've got a brain smart enough to realize it's not that hard to just look at a pole and to look at a snake. I mean, I would think that if I had gotten hurt and I was in pain and I was about to die and somebody said, all you have to do is look over here and look at the snake on the pole, well, I might as well do it, right? I mean, even if it's not going to work, I might as well try. It's not that hard. God had made it so silly simple for them. And yet I heard people out there saying, I'm not going to look at it. I don't want to look at it. And eventually they stopped saying that because, well, they died. Because like I told you, my poison kills. But I heard a lot of other people saying, oh, show me the pole. Show me the snake. And they would look and right away they would say, it doesn't hurt anymore. I'm all better. Look, my leg can work. Look, my hand is fixed. I'm not in pain. It was working. Even though my venom is so poisonous, they were getting healed by God's power. That's when I learned a lesson that I hope the children of Israel learned too. I learned that God is powerful enough to protect them and to protect you from anything, including poisonous snakes. And that even when you mess up, even if you decide that you don't want to do what God said, and you get the consequence from that, like they got a consequence, God still wants to help you. And he doesn't even come to you and say, okay, I guess I'll help you if I have to. No, God says, I want to help you. Please, just look over here. Just do exactly what I say, and you'll be fine. Well, I learned a lesson. I hope the children of Israel learned it too. But you know what? I've got a feeling they probably didn't. Because I've heard lots of stories about the children of Israel. They don't seem like the very smartest people in the world. Anyways, thanks for listening to my story. I hope sometime when you hear more about snakes, and you hear about bronze snakes up on poles, that you also think about what that might mean. It might mean something special. I think it does. God always has a reason he does stuff. Well, you'll figure it out someday. Bye.
So what else was God protecting the Israelites from?
From snakes.
From snakes. And not only snakes, the Bible tells us from like scorpions and all sorts of things that might really hurt them. But when they chose not to listen to God and complain again and say, you know what they said? We want to go back to Egypt. Can you believe that? Where they were slaves. Then God had said, I can't protect you if you choose not to follow me. And so that's why he removed the protection. Now, was the snake on the pole, the copper snake, was it magic? Did he heal them because it was some magical symbol? No, right? It healed them because who healed them?
Jesus.
Jesus healed them, right? Because they believed and they looked. And do you know who that snake represented? Anybody can guess?
Jesus.
It did. Jesus dying on the cross. God wanted them to remember that that's the only of salvation. Because there's another nasty snake that tries to get us in trouble. Who is that? Satan, that's right. And he tries to get us to sin, and he wants to take us away from God and keep us out of heaven. But Jesus says, if I'm lifted up on the cross, and if you look to me, and if you believe and have faith, then guess what? I will save you from Satan. That's all. And you don't have to do some complicated thing, right? Was it hard to look at the snake?
No.
No. And it's the same thing. Jesus says, just believe me. Trust me. That's it. And I will save you and bring you to heaven. Let's say a quick prayer. Thank you to Jesus for saving us from the evil snake Satan. Father in heaven, we thank you that you sent Jesus to die for us, that you want to save us, Lord, from Satan, and that all you want us to do is just to look to you, to believe, and to trust you. Help us to do that each day. In Jesus' name we pray.